Hey guys, welcome. So tonight we're going to do part two of the Reesa Teesa's Who the F Did I Marry story. We're going to go over it and review, give my opinion. If you can, please share this live. Be sure to follow me on social media. If you possibly can, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also, you can follow me on Facebook since I have both accounts. If you can hear me, please drop a yes in the chat or in the comment. I think that will be great. So I'm going to bring in the video. Again, I'm going to give a shout out again to Real Talk with Yanni for doing a compilation video of all the parts. I don't know if you know, but Reesa Teesa is a woman who somewhat became viral over the last 2 weeks following Valentine's Day, where she shared her story about her ex-husband, and how tumultuous the relationship was. And she says that she was married to a pathological liar. So tonight we're going to review part two of the series. If you can find her on TikTok, her name is Reesa Teesa, Reesa Teesa. It's not hard to find her. If you look up Who TF Did I Marry, you should be able to find the whole playlist. It's a 52-part series. At this point, we can call it a series. And at that point, it's up to you to watch it. So we're not gonna watch it all. We're gonna do multiple lives of this, and we're gonna go review our girl and give my opinion. Hi, Keraton, share this, please. If you have any comments, comment below or join the chat on YouTube, and let's get into it.
We are just here to have conversation. We don't expose and we don't sip tea on this channel. I'm giving you real talk straight, no chaser. Let's see if you can handle it.
Left off. So obviously.
So we did all the way up to part 5 last time. We started off with part 6 on here, but this is part 2 of my live series.
We're going to go ahead and get right into.
So because she talks slow, I'm going to speed this up. I don't have time to be on here for 2 hours. So let's go.
Part 2.
Okay, so this is part 6 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? So where we left off. So obviously, my doctor had called and told me there was no heartbeat. The pregnancy was not viable at that point, and I was cramping and spotting at work. Went into my best friend's office and immediately started crying. She was like, "What's going on?" And I said, I told her what the doctor said, and she grabbed her keys, grabbed her purse, and was like, "Let's go. I'm taking you home." On my way home, I called my boyfriend and told him what the doctor said, and he was like, "I'll meet you at home." So he was coming from Duluth, went straight home. And so about 24 or 48 hours later, I had a doctor's appointment, and my doctor gave me 3 options. First option, let everything happen naturally. Your body will expel the fetus on its own. Second option, you can take a pill which will induce expelling the fetus at home. The pill basically will cause you to contract and expel. The third option was to go into the hospital and do a D&C. I did not want to do a D&C because I did not want to be in a hospital with COVID going on. And for whatever reason, I did not do the option of let it happen naturally. So I chose to do the pill. His birthday was June 17th. My ex's birthday was June 17th. So the decision was made, we're going to celebrate his birthday that day, go out to eat. And then that night I would take the pill because we both were off from work the next 2 or 3 days. So went out to eat, tried to celebrate as best we could, and then took the pill that night. That night was the most traumatic, excruciating pain I've ever put my body through. I do not recommend any woman, if prayerfully you don't have to go through that, but I don't recommend taking that pill. If you don't have to, don't do it. I spent the whole night in the bathroom just crying in so much pain. I couldn't take, they gave me a narcotic. I couldn't take it because I found out I was allergic to it. So it was causing me to like projectile vomiting. It was a mess. So, and he was right there. You know, he was scared that he needed to take me to the ER. But in the morning, the pain kind of subsided. So about 72 hours later, I had.
Okay, so before I continue, I want to give an overview about what happened last time. So that way it's not confusing for new people coming in to watch this. So Reesa Teesa, in the first part of my first live review, because this is my second live review, she mentioned that she met this man named Legion. It's a nickname, it's not his real name. She met him on Facebook dating. And later on, they found out that she also matched with him on Hinge, where people create accounts on there and they are completely unhinged. Um, also, we have they went on a date. Their first date was at Cheesecake Factory. They live about 45 minutes apart, and she drove to the date. I wouldn't, but that's besides the point. So she drove to the date. On the way to the date, God sent her a message and blew her tire, but she didn't listen. So she still went on the date. He came and fixed her tire up and replaced the tire. And then they went on a date. On the date at the Cheesecake Factory, she pretty much got the conversation from him was the fact that like he's looking to settle down and he's looking to build a life, have a family, blah blah blah. He was also previously married, and apparently the ex-wife cheated on him, and that's why he got divorced. And then this was back in March of 2020. This is like right before COVID. So when the state of Georgia shut down, they end up moving in together because apparently she didn't want to be by herself during COVID because in her own words, she said she was desperate because she was looking for companionship. She didn't want to be alone for the shutdown. So she went ahead and let this man who was living in a studio apartment, which for me, in my mind, you don't just leave an apartment just like that to break the lease to move from a full-blown apartment. So that proves to me that man was staying in an efficiency to move in with her. And she let go of all these red flags because she wanted to have a companionship. Now, on top of that, she let this homosexual live in with her. But she didn't see nothing wrong with it because he was also paying the rent, right? And whenever a man want to pay the bills, a lot of women just oversee the BS. But anyway, I'm recapping. Okay, so the man moved in with her, and as the months go by, he wanted to keep up with the charade of him saying he want to buy a house, and in the process of buying the house, he never showed proof of funds because he claimed that he used to be an arena football player. He also played in college in San Diego, California, and that all the money he made in professional arena football, he done saved it and moved it offshore to an offshore account because he is scammer. And okay, the reason why he said he moved the money into a offshore account is because he wanted to avoid tax evasion, basically, because he didn't want to pay taxes on his money. So he said that he has money somewhere else, and she believed that he has all that money and that he wants to buy a $700,000 home. And he had this letter with the Chase logo on it. Everybody knows you need proof, right? But apparently she believed the letter that says that Chase had a pre-approval letter that he could get a home up to 700K in mortgage. And that's what she was going with based off that piece of paper that he had, and that he told her that he got money offshore somewhere, not in America, and that he got it, right? So because he was able to pay the rent, she didn't care to follow up on more of the situation about where the money. So they were trying to buy a house. I think it got to like the second deal fell through, and she just like started going on and on about like, am I going crazy? To the point where she started doing recordings, like voice, like the voice recorder app on your phone. She started recording herself as far as voice diaries, like dear diary, I feel like I'm tripping today type of thing. So she was recording herself to make sure she's not tripping. This is how pathological liars work. They start convincing you that you the crazy one when you really not the crazy one. So but yeah, so even when she feels like she's going crazy because she feel like it's something not adding up, because 2 plus 2 does not equals 5, and the 5 is that he lying about the money he got. But either way, she ended up pregnant, and this is where we are now. Okay, that was part 1 a couple of days ago when I went live. So now we are doing part 2. You're ready? Let's go.
Another doctor's appointment where the purpose of this appointment was to do an ultrasound to see if everything had passed. Everything did not pass. So because of that, my doctor was like, we're going to have to do a DNC. My DNC was scheduled for the first week of July. My boyfriend, my ex, was going to take me. That was always the plan. 2 days before my procedure, he comes home and tells me that he is up for a promotion. He's up to be promoted to VP. Because of this, the president of the company, excuse me, is coming in, and it was going to be this huge business meeting he had to go to. The business meeting was scheduled for the day of my surgery. And so I'm throwing a fit because I was like, you there's no way you can do that meeting. Like, I need you to take me to the hospital and all this other stuff. And so he offered to have his sister take me to the hospital. Apparently his sister lived in Douglasville. I was like, no, because I've never met her. Like, I'm not having a stranger take me to the hospital. No, this is a private situation. I don't want to do that, blah, blah, blah. So my aunt had offered to take me. And then my friend who took me home from work had offered to take me. So at that point, we get into an argument because he's like, my sister is, you about your family. So why can't she step in? And I was like, no, because I don't know her, period. I don't know her. So my friend offers to take me to the hospital because I was all distressed that he's saying he has a business meeting and he can't take me. So I remember being on I-75 on the connector on the phone with her crying because I was so embarrassed that he wasn't going to be the one to take me and that I was needing to rely on someone else to take me to the hospital in order to get a DNC done. And she was really great. She was like, girl, this is why you have a village. Like, it's okay. Things happen. The world is crazy right now. I will take you. You're going to be okay. So he did not take me to the hospital for my DNC. My friend did. She could not stay because of COVID protocol. So when they wheeled me into pre-op after I got checked in, I texted him and was just letting him know, hey, here's the update. I'm about to, I'm in pre-op. They're going to get me prepared to go back to the surgical ward or whatever. And the response I got was from his new executive assistant named David. Now, when he told me he was up for the promotion, he did tell me that part of getting this new job would be that he would get an executive assistant named David. And he did tell me, I'm going to make sure that I inform David, if you get a text from this number, meaning from me, pull me out of the meeting because, my fiance's having a procedure done and I'm picking her up. So it's important that you come get me if it's something serious. So I text him. David responds. He said, yeah, Mr. Blah, blah told me that you are having a procedure done. If you need me to get him, I can go get him. He's in a meeting. Just let me know what you need. And I just said, no, don't bother him. I'm just giving an update that they're about to take me back. And David responds and says, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Please let me know if there's anything I can do. So I have the procedure. I wake up and I am now in recovery. I should be in recovery 45 minutes up to an hour and a half. I wake up, first thing I ask, and I remember asking, is where is so-and-so? The nurse who was so sweet, she was like, everything went well. You're doing great. she said, we spoke to your fiance. He's on his way. So I said, okay, okay. I kind of dozed back out, but I could still hear everything that was going on. I just could not keep my eyes open to save my life. So I hear her talk to the other nurse. And that's when she said, yeah, Dr. So-and-so called her fiance and his executive assistant picked up. And the executive assistant said that he was in a business meeting and that, you could relate to him what you need to say. And he'll, he'll tell the fiance. And my doctor was like, hell no, HIPAA, I need to speak to him. So apparently my fiance called the doctor back about 30 minutes later. And the doctor informed him she'll be ready to be discharged in about an hour. You can make your way and come pick her up. He said he was on his way. He was on his way from Duluth to Atlanta, which is not a huge distance, but the time of day, one thing about Atlanta, there's always traffic. So he should have been there within the hour.
Will says, my point is why she waited 3 years later to sell him out. She's not selling him out. She never even mentioned his real name. She just want to tell her story so that way more women can be more careful out here. Will. That's the point. That's the point. So I'm sure she had to get over that relationship because it was so traumatic. You need time to heal. You know what that is, Will? Just keep going.
I should have only been in recovery an hour and a half. Let's go to the next part. Part 7, who the fuck did I marry? So I should have been in recovery at Northside Hospital for about at most an hour and a half. Subsequently, I ended up being in recovery between 3 to 3.5 hours. The nurses kept calling my ex, asking what's the status, because they were actually getting ready to do a shift change. So they kept calling, asking what's the status. So
she told her story, and guess what? Everyone knows her real name and his name. One thing never fails about TikTok is that TikTok has bigger. I feel like TikTok is the feds, honestly. People just be finding things out because they want to get in your business. However, what's wrong with women finding his name? I'm glad some women put his name out there because we need to know who we should not talk to. We need to know who the demons are to not talk to them. Point them out. Point them out. P.O.
Status, like, where are you? I want to say that they called a total of 3 times and they spoke to him twice. So at this point, I knew that they were all like, where's her fiance? Like, what is going on? He said he was stuck in traffic. And so he was making his way there. He eventually did get to Northside Hospital, and they wheeled me down because, again, he couldn't come in just because of the protocols. So when I got in the car and I'm in pain, to get drugged up, couldn't keep my eyes open, I was just out of it. But I remember him calling my aunt and my mother and letting them know I picked her up. We're on the way home. Let me get her settled, and then I'll give you guys an update. I remember that. What I did not know was that he had texted my aunt and my mom and asked them to not bother me.
I just want to let you guys know that all of this is a lie. This man literally said, you having my baby, so I'm going to lie that I just got a job, a job offer to go from regional manager at my job to a VP of my department to appease the situation, See, because I've watched all 50 parts, so I kind of understand how the ending happens. But think about this, you guys. She has never met this assistant that she just mentioned. Apparently, he when he gets this new job, he gets a new assistant, and this new assistant acting like, hey, he can't come to the phone. He's in a meeting. She's in the hospital pregnant, about to get rid of a baby. And he had a supposedly an assistant tell her and the people at the hospital he can't show up to the DNC of this baby. Your woman is in the hospital. You can't leave your job. I'm sure most job would understand, wouldn't it? If you tell your job, hey, my lady is having a baby for me in the hospital right now, having a delivery, they'll let you go. They'll let you go. So they let you go for a car accident. Why wouldn't they let you go because your wife, your girlfriend's in the hospital? That makes no sense. And then he let her go through the whole thing, made her wait 3 whole hours after the surgery, and that's when he finally showed up. That's not a real man. Who does that? You said, hold on. You said she didn't sell him out, but because of her, we know his real name. Anyways, why she stayed even after finding out he went to jail. The 2 other ex-wives, she got pregnant 2 months after. Hey, listen, I already said out of her own mouth, she said she understand where she went wrong. She took accountability for over overseeing all the red flags and not paying attention hard enough. She already beat herself up for it. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We just want to make sure that he understand what he did wrong too. And sadly, the video that's been circulating, he took no accountability. But she did though. Off rip. She took accountability all the way through. When people are in the comments on TikTok talking to her, she definitely took accountability the whole entire time, Will. But anyway, so I just find it weird how like this man who claims that he's with this woman living with her wouldn't leave his job to go to the hospital for her. That's so wrong in so many levels. So many levels.
For like a week. Like, just please don't reach out to her. Let her just rest. I am from New Jersey. I am from an African American family. You don't tell my Black mama or my Black aunt that, please don't bother her for a week. I didn't know this at the time, but I'm just interjecting that part. I'm trying to stay in the timeline, but he did apparently do that. And my aunt was like, why will fuck you up? Anyway, so go home. He waits on me hand and foot. I recover. Just needed about 24 to 48 hours to just get my mind right. During this time, in between when the house in Douglasville fell through, we had not talked about a house. So I guess it was about a week later after the DNC, he decides that, do you want to start looking for a house again?
Hi, Flora.
Do you want to start looking for a house again? Because of what happened with the house in Douglasville.
Hey, Flora Boo. You still haven't reviewed this poor thing. Well, shoot, we watching it right now. Let's review it one together.
Felt like I was smarter this time to say, I want to be involved in every aspect, because I don't know what the fuck happened with that house in Douglasville. But what I do know is that he lied to me. I didn't know then what I know now. I just knew he lied about I knew he lied about being under contract. So I told him, I said, I don't want to work with your friend who I've never met, never talked to. I know that he has talked to him because he's talked to him in front of me. And I'm going to demonstrate on one of the videos how he used to do his phone calls. Don't worry, it's coming. So we found a new real estate agent. Really nice guy. His name was Scott. I am using his real name. Really nice guy. And we told him what the budget was. And Scott was like, okay, when you guys are ready, we can start looking at houses. Try to look for houses that are empty because you can actually tour those. If it's a house where someone's already living in there, chances are it's going to be a virtual tour because of COVID. So I found a house.
Flora says, haha, do you believe he was waiting on her hand and foot? I wouldn't even go that far. Honestly, it could have been the bare minimum effort But at the time, she thought bare minimum was amazing because, if you're not used to people doing a lot for you or serving you, it would seem like it's the biggest thing in the world. But I fully doubt it. For a man who didn't show up to the hospital 3 hours later, I don't know how effective he would also be at the house either. So I don't know.
That I absolutely, in total, we must have looked at about 15 houses. But I found a house in Smyrna that I absolutely loved. We toured the house. Everything about this house was perfect. The house was listed for...
Darling, why are we looking at another house? Wait, this is the third house we're looking at, girl. Why we keep looking at houses when the first two fell through, ma'am? Dear God, thank you for never make me penis crazy like this. I don't know. I don't know. I just lost a baby for this man, and he got me out here touring another house. Baby, like, how bad did you want this house, ma'am? Let me find out.
$699,000. It was a brand new construction build. The only issue was that the basement was not finished, and he wanted the basement to be his man cave. Again, I went with him to tour this house. So this was already feeling very different than the situation in Douglasville, because we did not actually tour the Douglasville house. We only did a FaceTime virtual tour. This house in Smyrna, we toured. We toured this house more than once. And it was gorgeous, fucking gorgeous. So we talked about it. He said that he had the money. Again, the price was $699. He said he felt comfortable putting in an all cash offer. If you remember on the videos before, he told me he had money in his savings from when he played football. So when he said an all cash offer, even I knew, you got that kind of money, like where you can cut a cashier's check for $699,000. And he told me he did. He had money in savings from when he played football, and he was very comfortable paying all cash for this home. So the real estate agent, Scott, sent over the paperwork. The paperwork was sent in both of our names. It was sent to my email. That was another thing that I changed after Douglasville.
Y'all remember back in the day? Okay, you guys have seen Abbott Elementary, the TV show, and Quinta at the time was making viral TikToks, but it wasn't called TikTok back then, just on Facebook. And I think they were at the register, and she was like, "Oh, you got money." Y'all remember that clip? Oh, you got money. I think they were buying food. Was it Wendy's or something like that? Or was it McDonald's? And he was like, "Oh no, I just add the extra stuff in there." She was like, "Oh, you got money." That's the face she just made. That was so funny. That just took me back. She was like, "You gonna pay this cash? Oh, you got money." Sick. Oh, girl. All right, let's keep going.
Everything gets sent to me, and then I will be sure that he signs it. So he sent it to me. I looked over the offer. We were going to put in an all cash, full price offer with a request to have the basement finished. Also, we were requesting for the seller to give us an answer within 24 hours. We were requesting a quick closing. These are just some of the things I remember. I remember 24 hours, like I didn't want to wait on, y'all think about it. 24 hours, let us know if you're accepting the offer or not. And then also a quick closing because it was a new construction. So we didn't have to wait.
Hey, welcome. Prod by Incarnate. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Flora. Thank you, Flora, darling. Thank you, Flora.
For the current tenant to move out. We didn't have to do that. So I watched in our bedroom as he pulled it up, because it was a electronic document, he signed his name to the offer for $699,000 cash. He requested again, the seller let us know in 24 hours if they were accepting the offer. So we submitted the offer at around 6 p.m. We were requesting that by 6 p.m. the next day, they let us know if the offer was accepted or not. I watched him sign the offer. I sent the offer back to Scott from my email. All parties had signed. Scott texted us and said, I got it. I'm submitting it. I will let you know what they say. Let's go into part 7.
She said, I saw him, see me, see him. Sign that document. Mwen wè mi se avèk degren jem. Mwen wè si papye avèk degren jem, okay? With my own 2 eyes. She said, I saw that man with my own 2 eyes. He signed that paper. Well, avec degren jem piti. Mwen nèg la si papye ya pou l'achete ma kayla catch ban mwen. Sickening. Mwen mi se achete ba la cash money. He sign the papers that he wants to buy the house cash. You know, I'm teasing about this, but however, there has to be a special kind of person to think, I'm gonna go all out and make her think, after she just lost a baby for me, that I'm going to buy her a cash money house to make her feel good, right? However, there is no money. It has to be diabolical to sit there to say, I am going to lie to this woman and look at her straight in the eyes and act like I'm really buying a house when I'm really not. Act like I'm going to sign full-blown documents knowing full well I have no money. Both of them Delulu, Flora. Honestly, they're both Delulu at this point, because it's insane to be like, you know what? I'm going to act like I'm going to purchase this house cash with no cash. You want to play in this woman's mind all the time, where you got her thinking like, okay, he's a good man, Savannah. He's a good man. He's a good man. He's a good man. He's a good man. Of course he's not going to lie to me. Of course he's not going to put his signature on a full-blown legit document acting like he has money. And really, surely enough, he's not going to do that. I'm not tripping. Am I tripping? He's not going to do that. He's not going to. And he did, sis. He did. I agree with that. Both of them. Yeah, they're both Delulu. It's crazy. Let's keep going.
7. Sorry. Let's go into part 8. Good grief, this is getting long. Okay, so I just want to clear up some things that I realize is kind of creating some confusion. So just allow this video to serve as a stop sign. Let's clarify. First of all, the story, background. He was born in Philly, raised in Philly, and moved to Augusta. Story is that he moved to Augusta for high school. After high school, he went to college at San Diego State, enjoyed San Diego State, stayed in San Diego for quite a while. Got married out in California, had a house in California, played arena football out in California, but his family was back here in Augusta, Georgia. He still had a lot of family up in Philly, but for the most part, he had a sister in Augusta, he had a sister in Douglasville, he had a brother in Baltimore, he had another brother in Philly, and he had a brother in Nashville. So I just want to clarify that in terms of not the demographics, but the geography. Born in Philly, came to Augusta for high school, went to San Diego State for college, played football, stayed at San Diego, got married out there, but still had quite a bit of family here in here in Georgia. He also had a sister, I think I said, who lived in Douglasville. I have physically met his aunt who lived in Augusta. I've met his brother who lives in Augusta. I have spoken on FaceTime with a brother who lives in Baltimore. And then I will demonstrate how he used to talk to the brother that lives in Philly. That's coming up. You haven't missed that. In terms of the proposal, you did not miss the story of the proposal. I simply didn't want to share it because it was embarrassing. Basically, he gave me 3 ring options. We went to a jeweler at the Mall of Georgia. He had me pick out 3 rings. I told him which one I liked the most because I knew it wasn't a romantic proposal at all. I knew which ring I liked the most. I told him which one. He basically said, when I'm ready, I'll give you the ring and I'll propose. Fast forward about, I guess it was summer because I was actually pregnant when the ring came. We were sitting at the dinner table. He took the ring box out of his pocket, slammed it on the dinner table. And I was like, what is this? He was like, open it. I opened it. Inside was the ring that I had wanted, that I had chosen at the jeweler. And he was like, all right, so this means that you're going to be my wife. I was pregnant. So again, when I asked y'all to give me grace, it's because there's certain things that's just like, girl, what was you thinking? Trust me. There's no excuse. So there was never a, will you marry me? It was more of a, we're living together. We're having a baby together. We need to get married, because the backstory also was that his dad was a retired police officer, but at one point his father was a pastor. So he could quote the Bible like nobody's business, as we all know. So can Lucifer. But anyway, he could quote the Bible like no one's business. And so
I just want to say this about Christianity. In the church, they make it such a big deal to be attached to a man. In a lot of ways, if you're not attached to a man, you pretty much worthless in a lot of cases. And a lot of men like Legion like to prey on women who believes that they not worthy enough unless they're attached to a man. And in my first live about this story, she mentioned that she felt uncomfortable because she was raised as a Christian woman, and that she felt uncomfortable living together because they were in sin. But however, she also felt like she was a little desperate. Her words, not mine. And that she wanted to have the companionship. She did not want to deal with COVID on her own. And I can respect needing to have companionship, because a lot of people that year wanted to be around people that they love. In a lot of ways, people like to use the Bible to prey on religious women. And I think that's completely sad as a man to do so. I don't see myself respecting men like that. Somebody says the Bible is a double-edged sword, can be used to heal or mislead. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Also, wow, he really just said stuff to her without a care in the world. Yeah, basically, he was just whatever. He was just going with the scheme. The longer he would find a way to stay with this woman, he was willing to do it. Because think about it. If you're staying in a so-called hotel, it costs from my understanding, it can cost you roughly up to $500 to $1,000 a week to stay there, right? So if you go from paying roughly $1,000 a week to paying $1,000 a month, I remember she said her rent was less than $1,000 at the time from the county that she was living at. So he's saving significantly. So this is just my opinion. In his mind, he probably felt like, I need to find a way to keep my living arrangement as long as I could. And if I had to feed her some lies, knowing I ain't got no money, I'm going to do so. And I think that's diabolical, for one. And two, he was doing he had a regular job. He didn't have to lie, honestly. I believe the real truth behind this was that he was a forklift driver. There's nothing wrong with being a forklift driver. I think they would have lived a peaceful life if he was just honest from the beginning. Hey, this is me. I'm divorced. I have no kids though. However, I work here. I'm sure she would have still been with him because she found him attractive from the first date, right? I'm sure there's a lot of men who are not up to par, and women are goo goo gaga over them. There are a lot of women who take hobos, and that's okay. They like them for who they are and not what they bring to the table. And honestly, that could have been the case. However, the scheme of it all just make it 10,000 times worse. Acting like he was a football player with money, and he really didn't. That's the part that's wild in this story.
That's how we ended up engaged. And I was wearing a ring. I will find a picture and I will try to post it. But I was wearing a ring. Don't worry, there's more to that story as well. So just wanted to clarify some things for the people who were like, wasn't it weird that he had a sister who lived close, but he's from Philly? So I just wanted to definitely bring clarity to what he told me was the backstory. Born in Philly, came to Augusta for high school, went to California for college, played football at San Diego State, played football and arena football, worked at Apple, and then joined a condiment company in California, who then transferred him back to Georgia. He was married in California, and he told me he got divorced in California. That is important as well. That will come up again later. And so the ex-wife, at this point in time, at the time that I'm telling you, part 7, which is the last video I just posted, the ex-wife lived in California with her 2 kids, his 2 stepkids. The 2 stepkids were 17 and 20 or 21, but they were that age group. And he was saying that he was very close with them. So he wanted to keep a tight relationship with them. And he talked to them, if not every day, every other day. When I say, when I say this, I need y'all to understand. When I say that he talked to someone, it means that he was on the phone in front of me talking to the person. I hope that, because I will touch back on this. He was on the phone in front of me talking to the person. So he talked to his siblings every day. He talked to his aunt almost every day. He talked to his family the way I talk to my family almost every day. And again, I will demonstrate how he used to do the phone calls. I will also demonstrate how he used to do the work phone calls, because he called me every single day from work. And he would talk to people while he was on the phone with me. And I could hear people in the background. But that's a whole nother part. So again, buckle your seats. I promise I'm reading your comments, I'm reading your questions, but I wanted to bring this video just to clarify some stuff. Hopefully this helps. And honestly, I know people are fascinated by this, but more than anything, I hope that there's a woman watching this and she's saying to herself, okay, it's time for me to ask some questions. That's my hope. All right, part 8 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? So we submitted an offer on the house in Smyrna. I sent it over to Scott, our realtor, and next day comes, Scott asks if we can take a phone call. So he calls us and tells us that the offer was not accepted and the builder did not do a counter offer. We don't
Hold on. Gossip. I want to talk about reality TV with you too. Ready to Love and Love is Blind. You're my cup of tea. Girl, come on, kinfolk. Let's do it. I have content on. I have Love is Blind content right now on the channel if you want to go look at them. But whenever you're ready, actually DM me on Instagram. Let's you Flora too. Let's do it together. Let's do a broadcast together and let's discuss chat, because I'm ready. I have the time now. That's why I'm back on YouTube. I got the time. So let's make it happen. Let's make it happen, boo.
exactly know why. We don't exactly know why he didn't accept it, but the bottom line is that we figured out later on that he didn't want to finish the basement. So the offer was not accepted. The house fell through. I was okay with that because Again, I knew he had put in an offer. So we continued looking at other houses. We found another house in Smyrna that he really liked. I thought that it was way too big for just the two of us. And so the price of this home was much higher than the $750,000 that Chase had approved for the mortgage. So what he explained to me was that he was willing to do the $750,000 mortgage, and he was also willing to put a significant amount of the money in savings on the house, which meant that he was now comfortable going from 750,000 up to about 900,000. Again, his whole explanation was, I have the money where I can put down a substantial down payment, bring down the price of the home, and then basically mortgage the rest of it. So that was now the plan. I was not comfortable with a home over $900,000. But again, keep in mind, I saw the Chase paperwork. So I was like, I just feel more comfortable sticking at the 750,000 mark. That's what you approved for. Let's go with that. By this point, this is now fall of 2020. We had been talking about marriage. I had my ring. He had made VP at the company. And again, he was calling me every day from work. I need to kind of explain how the company was ran, because when you think VP, you would think he would be in an office. It was a condiment company. So they actually were producing the condiments. And I'm not saying the name of the company on purpose, but they were producing the condiments in this particular plant location. So a lot of times he would simply tell me that he walked the floor, checking in with his subordinates, basically. Now, how did he go to work? For the most part, at this point, he left before I woke up. However, pretty much he wore dress pants, kind of like a dark navy blue cargo pant. And he had a polo shirt with the company logo on it. What I saw a lot of times is that he would not wear the polo shirt to work. He would wear like a company t-shirt. He would wear rubber sole shoes and the navy blue cargo pants. I didn't think it was a uniform, but it reminded me of what someone would wear when I worked at Amazon, if you're going to be doing manual labor. He didn't go to work sloppy looking.
So let me get this straight. He had an upgrade in his position, but the outfits didn't change. He never wore a polo to work. It's still the t-shirt and cargo pants. Reesa, let's be for real, Reesa. Let's be for real. What do you mean? What do you mean? Even like, what you gonna call it? Even like managers at, I don't know, let's say Applebee's. Them managers be having a regular dress shirt on and dress pants on. Okay? And they're not even a VP of anything. They're not even a VP of nothing. So why are they more dressed up than him, and he's a VP at the condiment company? Can we be for real? No, sis. That don't make sense. That don't make sense, sweetheart. That makes no sense, sweetheart. Can we be honest? Okay. Let's be honest.
At all, but it definitely was not suit and tie. Nowhere near suit and tie. It is fair to note that outside of work, he was a man who he loved to dress. He loved to wear the latest Jordans. He loved to collect watches. He collected a lot of Invicta watches.
Jordans are not necessarily the type of outfit that I would expect a VP to wear. Not necessarily. Invicta watches are not that expensive, sis. Invicta watches. Hold on, let's look this up. Invicta watches. How much are them things? Hold on. Hold on. Let's share my screen to something else. Let's be for real here. Can we be for real? Look at that. March Madness, the most insane deals ever. Leap day liquidation up to starting at $14. Ooh, one of a kind watches up to 65% off. Watch the vault. What is this? One watch is $1,200. Everything else is $150, $160, $299. Okay. Okay. Men's watches. Let's be specific. That's from the vault though. Now regular people is buying these, okay? $29.99. I'm sorry, $29.90, $59.90, $39.90. Us regular folks, the one you find at the mall, it be these, okay? $34.90, $99, $109. Look at that. Rock bottom price. $44.99. Okay. Okay, sweetheart. I'll make this bigger. Oh, look at that. Boom. Let's make this bigger, okay? Look at that. $59.99, $39.99, $64.99, $79, like $80 watches, okay? Okay? He had a lot of Invicta watches. Sweetheart. No. 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 No, 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 no. I will say this though. I'm not someone who act like I'm flashy either. I'm not flashy. Lulu's not flashy because I care about more different things, right? I'm not flashy in general. However, if you want to flex on saying that on the weekend when he wasn't going to the job, Reesa, that he was wearing Jordans and Invicta watches, that is not a flex, my girl. That is not a flex, sweetheart. Okay? It is not a flex. A man wearing a watch is the normal thing. I wear a watch, right? I wear a cute little dainty as a woman watch. This is a woman watch. It looks cute. It's gold. It's whatever, right? But it's not a flex to say he wore watches. Okay? The flex was the proof of funds. A real flex will be every time you're trying to buy a house, it does not fell through. Every time you want to buy a house, the realtor asks for proof of funds. And there were never proof of funds. Okay? The key is proof of funds. Proof of funds, right here. That was the main problem, okay? This was the main problem. No proof of funds. I don't care what you tell me, sis. I don't care what the story is. I need to see the money. I need to see it with my own two eyes, okay? I want to see, okay, honestly, she was going off based off piece of paper that he would show her. He would literally go into his phone and be like this, here, and then turn it around. He'd be here. He'd be like this, here. Oh, you want to see how much money I got? Here you go. Boop. That's it. No. I would be like, that was too fast. rewind that. Let's go to your banking app. Okay. If you got Chime, let's go to the Chime app. We need to click on it and open it. Okay. And I want to see you log in. I want to see you log in. I want to see you log into it so I can see the money. Don't do that. You want to claim that you want to buy a house cash for $799,000 and you, hold on. You want to show me a fake login? No. I want to see you type in your I want to see you type in your login information. I want to see you pull up Chime like this, okay? All the way logged in. Like, no, that's not what we're doing. Open your bank app. I want to see it with my own two eyes. Open the bank app, please, okay? Okay, hold on. What's the request? Lulu told a heavy bag. I ain't got no heavy bag. Is it on IG, Kenpo? Is that what you mean? What's the request? I just did. All right. But yeah, show me the proof of funds. Lulu told him, I don't have a heavy bag. I'm broke, baby. You know what I need? I need this channel to get monetized so I can really start buying my heavy bags, okay? So I can start buying me some Invicta watches too. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll get me, a better watch game. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. All right, let's get back to this.
He loved to collect hats. He wore hats, baseball caps everywhere because he didn't like the shape of his head. So in terms of how he dressed casually, the man, he could dress. In terms of how he dressed for work, yeah, he didn't dress like a VP. But his excuse was, I'm constantly walking the production floor and I can't be in a suit and tie walking the production floor where they're creating the condiments that we're selling. So by this point, again, this is fall. We're still looking at houses. We're still touring houses as much as we can because it is COVID. We had found another house that we really liked and a house that I really, truly wanted to put an offer in on. This was now going to be the second house that we put an offer on. He put in the asking price, I believe, was about $700,000. He put in under asking an offer for about $650,000. I'm guessing, but I'll try to find the house and put it on the story. The reason that house fell through, we found out that the home was sitting on a septic tank. We found out that the septic tank had an issue and it would have taken about $15,000 to $20,000 to fix the septic tank. The sellers were not willing to fix the septic tank. Personally, I didn't really care for the house that much. I'm the one who was like, I don't really want it. So even though we put an offer in, we had 24 hours where we could pull our offer back. And so we did. Once we found out, I believe it was in the disclosure. And if you're a realtor, please feel free to tell me if I'm using the wrong terminology. But I believe it was in the disclosure that they told us the septic tank needs to be replaced. That's when I was like, nah, I don't want that house. So we pulled out. The house fell through. And so I was fine with it because, again, I was heavily involved. I saw him sign the offer. I knew every step of what was going on. Our real estate agent, Scott, was amazing, but you will see when I get to it where he made a mistake as a real estate agent. So house number 2 fell through. We then moved on, saw a few more houses, and then we get to house number 3. I'm going to pause talking about the houses because now I need to introduce what happened with the cars. Stay tuned. All right. Part 9 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? So we're pausing on the house stuff. Let me tell you about the car. So when I met my ex-husband, I was driving a 2012 Nissan Rogue, fully loaded. It had quite a few miles on it, but it got me from A to B. It was in good condition, but I was upside down in the car. He was driving a 2018 Ford Taurus. sport mode. I know he had a sport mode on the car, and I love driving that car. When he told me how he was a regional manager, he told me that one of the perks that came with the job was that he would be getting a company car. And so we spent time going to Range Rover of South Atlanta. We spent time going to Jaguar. We spent time going to BMW. We spent time going to Ford, which was on Mount Zion in Morrow, if you all are familiar with that area. He test drove a whole lot of cars. In the end, he decided on a BMW sedan. I was there when he test drove the car. I got in the car with him. I loved it. And he explained to the salesperson, you know, I'm getting a company car. I need to get a printout of the full price of the car, tax, tag, and title. Because what my company is going to do is wire over the money for the car. The salesperson was like, okay, you know, apparently that happens a lot. So he gave him a printout with the tax, tag, and title for the car. In front of me and the salesperson, he called the person in the finance department for his job. Obviously, I have no idea what this person's name is, but he called the person. He explained to them, this is the amount of money. He said the president of the company, so-and-so, has authorized for him to get a car, not spending more than, I think, $90,000 tax, tag, and title. The BMW came out to just under $90,000. And so I remember this conversation so fucking vividly. So he's on the phone in front. I'm sitting down, the salesperson sitting down at their desk, and he's like, they put me on hold. And so he's like, I guess the person comes back and he says, the price of the car is blah, blah, blah. He was like, give me a second and I can send you a picture of that printout that shows tax, tag, and title for the BMW. He gets off the phone. He takes a picture of it. He sends it to whoever. He waits about 10 minutes. He calls the person back. He says, did you get it? Apparently the person did get it. But the person who can actually physically do the wire transfer had gone home for the day. So what he says to the BMW salesperson, he's like, okay, we're going to have to do this tomorrow because so-and-so went home for the day. I don't know who the salesperson is. I can only tell you from my viewpoint what I thought. I had no reason to think this was a lie. I really didn't. Because again, you got to please keep in mind the circumstances that all of this is happening. We're inside the dealership. We're sitting at the desk of this person. He gave us the printout. He's on the phone, doing business, basically saying, look, this is how much money the car is going to cost. He's taking a picture of it. He seemingly is texting someone saying, this is how much, this is proof of how much it is. Then he asked the BMW salesperson, I need your wire transfer information. The guy got up, rushed over to, I guess, their finance area to get the bank wire information, because obviously you have to wire it a certain kind of way. Rushes back over, gives it to my ex-husband. My ex-husband's like, okay, first thing in the morning, we will get this wired over, and then, I'll come and pick up the car. My fiance, will drive me up here to pick up the car. So we leave. He felt like, because at the time that this all happened, I was pregnant. So he felt like, look, we're about to have a baby. I don't want you driving that Nissan Rogue. I want to get you something more secure, something new. I really wanted a Kia. I really wanted a Kia Telluride. And he was like, well, let's look at the warranty. This man knew a lot about cars. He knew a lot about the warranty. He knew a lot about the depreciation value. And so he did talk to me a lot about what will we get the most for our money. We test drove, when I say we, I test drove a Kia Telluride, a Kia Sorento. He didn't like either of those. He had me test drive a Ford Explorer. He didn't really care for that. Then came time where he really wanted me to get a BMW. He really wanted me to get a BMW X5. So he took me to Global BMW Imports, which, if you know anything about Atlanta, it's off of Cobb Parkway, but you can see it off the highway. I believe 285 is where you can see the Global Imports BMW dealership. He took me there. He had me test drive an X5, an X6. He also had me test drive I think I'm gonna get the numbers wrong, a 525, which was a sedan. I did not like that. I wanted an SUV. I loved driving the BMW. He also had me drive an M Series, test drive an M Series. So he was very adamant that I should get a BMW. The reason being is because, according to him, he had a BMW in California when he lived in San Diego. He had a BMW that he loved. It was a white BMW. He showed me pictures of the BMW. So he showed me pictures of this white BMW that he had. And unfortunately, the car got totaled about 2 months before he moved to Georgia. So he had received money, not a lot, but some money to get another car, and he used it to get the Ford Taurus because he was like, I just need a car that's going to get me from A to B until I get into a house and I'm much more settled. For him, he was like, I'm really giving myself 60 days to get settled here in Georgia after moving from California. But then he met me. Again, that's the story. So he had me test drive the BMW. So much so, I loved the BMW. Loved it. I wanted a dark blue BMW with cognac interior. I wanted an X5, and I wanted an M Series. So I can clearly tell y'all that's exactly the car I wanted. We were online looking for that particular car because not every dealership had it. I was okay with a black BMW if needed, but I really wanted dark blue, and I really wanted that cognac colored interior. So he felt like, I want you to consider all of a sudden an Audi Q8. Let's just see how you like it. If you don't really like it, then we will go back to the BMW. I cannot tell you why he switched up. I can't. But I can tell you he took me to an Audi dealership on Peachtree Industrial. He test drove an Audi and I test drove an Audi Q8. I loved the Q8. Loved it, loved it, loved it. But I was tired of test driving cars. By this point, I had test driven so many cars. Our weekends were spent either looking at a house or test driving cars. And I was picky, I will admit that. So he had me test drive the Q8. I really liked it. I finally just told him, look, I'm good with either the BMW or the Audi, because I'm tired of test driving cars. He told my family he was buying me a new car because, keep in mind, not keep in mind, let me let y'all know. He had met my family initially on Zoom because, again, we were locked down. He had met my family. He also had met my family in person because at this point, it was like, look, if you're not showing any symptoms, maybe we can do family dinner. And so So he had met my family in person. And now we will go ahead and move towards part 10 of this series. Okay, part 10. Who the fuck did I marry? Okay, had to sneeze. All right, so at this point, I had test driven all these cars. Kias. Hell, he even had me test drive a Nissan Murano.
Let me tell you all this. Not only this man was acting like he was going to buy her a house, he was also acting like he was buying her a car with no funds, no proof of funds. The key word for this series is proof of funds. Every time he was to blame it on the job, transferring this money, and there is no job, transferring no money to buy this car. You like to be so exhausted from all this whiplash of, I am going to do things for you and then take it away, giving me a slight bit of hope, and then boop, hope is gone. It's like this roller coaster that they want you to be on, and it's never like a smooth incline, right? A smooth incline in a relationship. It's always some whoop 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 whoop. Like, it's never like a slow, gradual love. It's always some mess. Doesn't always seem to be like that. And honestly, the more she keeps talking, the more I'm like, God is throwing you sign after sign after sign, sis. Sign after sign. The second house had a terrible septic situation in the house. I mean, you were probably not happy that the deal fell through, but in reality, God saved you from being in the house with a septic problem. Hindsight, right? God saved you from that. It could have been worse, for sure. God saved you from purchasing a house and it had a septic problem. So that would be a plus in this story. Granted, we found out that he was lying about the money that he would have to buy the house. However, things could have been worse. You could actually had the baby and be stuck with him for the rest of your life as a co-parent. It's terrible that you lost a baby. But knowing what you know now in 2024 versus what you were going through in 2020, bless your soul for overcoming that relationship. and at every at every turn, there's always there's always a way to leave, right? You always have the choice to go or stay. There's always a choice to go or stay. And sadly, people can miss the mark. And then God has to send you another one and another one. Like DJ Khaled, another one and another one until we learn our lesson. She didn't learn anything until she got married to him. So all of this is just they're just living together. All of this mess is them just living together. Now, mind you, there are some men who be like, like they'll do something wrong, and then they be like, "I'm sorry, baby, da 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 da, please take me back," and then they be like, "Okay, well, he apologized, so yeah, I'll take him back." Like the girls who say to their homegirls, "Well, girl, he said, well, my man said he's sorry." Is he though? Is he really sorry? Or he's just buying time? It could have been one of those situations where, like, sure, I'll apologize for now. I'll apologize for now. I'll apologize. I'll apologize. She believes me like a dummy, so I'll apologize. So if you don't take anything from me today, is that you don't only need to see things that they show you. You need, but like, if you need to see proof, the man proof. Watch him log in. Don't just think they got money, okay? Watch them log into the app. Or better yet, make him take you to the ATM and watch him pull out the money. Watch him pull out the money. Don't believe everything you see, okay? Don't believe anything a man says you unless it shows you action. And at every turn, when it was time for him to show up and do what he's supposed to do, he always fell through. In Reesa Teesa's story, even with this whole car buying situation, it was the same thing. So, but anyway, it's I am over my 1 hour mark. We will come back another time to do this. Granted, I don't have a specific time I might come back. So if I go live, I go live. If I don't, just wait for the next recording. All right. I do have Love is Blind episodes dropping soon. So be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe on my YouTube channel. It's the same name on almost every platform, and it's going to be this, okay? It's the same name for YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok. So follow me everywhere, you guys. Thank you for joining me tonight on this review on the Reesa Teesa story part 2. Part 3 will be next up. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.